Amherst Area School District is held on Wednesday, March 8, 2017. This meeting is held to go over the agenda for the regular monthly board meeting that will be held on Wednesday, March 15, 2017 at 7 p.m. at the high school auditorium. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public videotaping. The purpose of videotaping the meeting is for public information. The opinions expressed by any member of the public do not necessarily reflect the view or opinion of the Amherst Area School District Board of School Directors and are solely that of the speaker. The Amherst Area School District Board of School Directors hereby expressly disclaims any and all responsibility or liability for any false, defamatory, or slanderous statements expressed by the speaker. Any unauthorized rebroadcasting of any video, audio, or still image of the video recording of this meeting is strictly forbidden without the written permission of the Amherst Area School District Board of School Directors. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Fisher? Here. Mr. Keeper? Mrs. Kehoe? Here. Mr. Kowal?
Here.
Mrs. Locker? Mrs. Mylan? Here. Mr. Sauer? Here. Mrs. Smith? We have 6 board members present, 3 are absent.
Thank you. Is there any correspondence this evening?
In your packets, you will see the letters that the superintendent's office has received today, recognition for our 4 academic behavior coaches.
Thank you. All right, we will be having student and teacher recognitions at the meeting on March 15th. Tonight, however, we have some presentations, and I'll turn the meeting over to Mr. King.
And let me just say before Mr. King gets started, staff is extremely proud of some of the programs that we have, and they've been working very hard at their implementation at the building level, and I know they've really been looking forward to presenting to the board this evening, and I know in particular Mr. King has been pulling this whole effort together. So Barry, if you could start, please.
Thank you, and I'd ask you to move out of the path of projector. It's one of the disadvantages of being in the cafeteria. Tonight we're going to present to the board and the public about 2 of our new initiatives from last year, which is the Unified Art STEAM period and also the academic behavior coaches at our schools. We're going to begin with the junior high principal, Mr. Sean Cook, who's going to talk about proposed schedule changes for the junior high school for next year.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. President, School Board, Dr. Imperio, thank you for giving me this opportunity to present and share some of the things that we're doing at the junior high school, or plan to do, for this upcoming school year. So, changes to our schedule for the 2017-18 academic school year. Before I begin and get into the specific changes, I just want to share the reasons and purpose as to why we are making or proposing some of these changes. First and foremost, we do acknowledge that we have our SPP score is the lowest in the district. It's 44.9, and we need to address that. And the way to address that, research shows, is to get high-quality instruction and deliver it directly to our students, and to get more and additional high-quality instruction and deliver that directly to our students. So that is one of the reasons why you'll see some of the changes that we're about to look at. Second reason is that we have a variety of different learners at our school, and to address them in a bubble or in a vacuum is basically impossible. So we need to really differentiate and do different things to help our students, and that is another reason and another goal of ours. So our changes are grounded in the MTSS process, the multi-tiered system of supports. And in that MTSS process, what we look at and what we want to do is screen all of our students with one universal screener. That is going to be a foundation of these changes, as you'll see in a minute. Before I get into that, I do want to say, so what our schedule will look like is it will be an 8-period day, one 30-minute lunch, and each period throughout the day will be 43 minutes. We will give a universal screener to all of our students. Currently, 6th graders will receive the universal screener in the spring of their 6th grade year, and we'll do that with our 7th graders as well. So we'll have clear data to drive our decision making the following school year. Students needing the highest level of academic intervention will receive a Tier 3 and support in reading and math. And what that means is that on top of having their for example, a 7th grader having a reading class, an ELA or English Language Arts class, they can have an additional 43 minutes of reading and or math that day. So we're talking altogether, the minute totals average out to about 129 minutes of reading of ELA or 86 minutes of math. So we're trying to get the students that need it the most intervention, the most direct instruction as we can. Because of these changes, what we need to do is, anytime you gain somewhere, you have to take away. So anytime when we do that, things do have to, there has to be a reduction. And where that falls is with the related unified arts. Right now we have a 90-day rotation, which is a semester. Those classes will move to a 45-day rotation. Students will still be exposed to the same unified arts that they would normally, just at a shorter period of time. So we'll look at them instead of as semesters and quarters. The enrichment opportunities will then be offered to those students that do not need that highest level of intervention. They will get enrichment opportunities in the areas of STEM, art, music, physical activity, nutrition, career planning, just to name a few. Those students that, during that intervention period, the students may be able to move fluidly between intervention, and if they start to perform at level, they can move into those enrichment classes as well. So we want to create a differentiated time for the students to learn and to get that information to them as best we could. This is just an example of what our day would look like. We have 3 lunch periods. Currently we have 3 lunch periods. Each lunch period is 30 minutes. There's your 8-period day. The lunches are offset, so we can fit the students into the cafeteria. There's just enough room for three lunches for our student body. This is an example of what a 7th grade schedule may look like. Student A, B, and C. Student A would be the student receiving the highest level of intervention. Student B would be that middle of the road student, and student C would be the student receiving the lowest level of intervention or the enrichment period itself. Again, our students are all different. They're not going to fall into one exact category. The schedule may look sort of like this, but this is just a general idea. Again, in 8th grade, what a student in 8th grade, their schedule may look like. Student A is the highest level of intervention, student B, mid-level, and then student C, the lowest level in the enrichment group. And that is my presentation. I want to thank you. Thank you for your time.
Next, we're going to have Ms. Janice Zubsik, the high school principal, discuss changes to the course selection book, graduation requirements, and some possible new electives.
Thank you. So some of the things that we are continuing to do at the high school to expand our course offerings to ensure that we focus on continuing to have our students be college and career ready. We are adding some new courses to the course catalog. Business and personal finance will offer the level 2 of that course. Spanish 5 will be offered. We are looking forward to some training to have that become an AP class. We are expanding from AP Physics B and C, or A and B, to AP Physics C, which is a mechanics course. You and your government, we've had an interest from the student body in having activities that relate more to government and political activities. They want to become more knowledgeable about how to be productive members of society, so we're going to make sure that we meet their needs and their interests in that manner. We are able to continue to expand opportunities through CCBC with their STEM Academy. The nice part about the STEM Academy is it will offer an engineering track, but it will also have what's called a process technology track, which is more along the lines of some of the mechanical and workforce skills that will be necessary and available in our region in the coming years. We will continue conversations with Pittsburgh Technical College, who are going to be expanding their course offerings, and we've had meetings with them about when those courses are approved on their end that we'll be able to have some additional dual enrollment opportunities for our students here as well. And also the potential to have our psychology and sociology class become an AP level course as well. Some of the course alterations that we've made to meet students' scheduling needs and to meet the needs of adjustments that have been made at the Beaver County Career and Technology Center. We have altered the courses slightly to allow more opportunities for kids to fit these courses into their schedule. Applied technical drawing, material fabrication. The welding and fabrication is going to be cut at the Career and Technology Center. So we want to make sure that those kids will be able to, have exposure to that when they're in the building with us, in case it is a career choice they'd like to make for the future. This just lays out our STEAM curriculum a little bit, and you can see how some of our course offerings fit into the categories and how they go together to meet the needs of STEAM initiatives. Again, the CCBC STEM Academy, the students will apply to CCBC. They have a common application for all of the academies. If they're accepted by CCBC into the program, they'll be able to earn 28 credits in their designated programs of study, and they are going to be able to do that during their junior and senior year, while also earning their credits for graduation from Ambridge Area High School. Conversations about articulation agreements with CCBC are continuing. That would simply allow our staff to teach the class in-house and still be able to receive the credit through CCBC and Ambridge. It's nice because then we aren't necessarily having our students all go someplace else. We're able to make sure that we're maintaining them in-house so that we can maintain our staff intact as it is. One of the things that we've been talking about for a while is increasing graduation requirements and credits. We are proposing that we go to 25 credits. One of those credits would be for the senior project. You can see some of our Beaver County districts and what they're offering. So 25 credits would put us more along the lines of the average within the county. Many districts are now offering a full credit for their senior project towards graduation. And part of the thing that limits us to continuing to expand that is we have to make sure that we're staying with in the confines of the contractual language, and that we're not having people teach more than the number of periods that they're allowed per day. Senior projects have been a part of the high school curriculum for a little while. PBE eliminated them as a requirement, but it is now a local decision. There were many conversations about the implementation of project-based assessments, but they continue to extend the deadline on that. So the project-based assessment is on hold, or coming a little bit later down the pike than we expected. The thing that the administration and faculty are most fond of about the senior project is their community service component. And as per our, school's mission statement, we want the kids to be involved in the community and to have experiences outside of the classroom. Currently, senior project revisions are being made that could increase the community service component of that, and allowing us to have more time with our staff. We would have those presentations done within their senior level English class instead of with a panel, a large panel of teachers. Some of our computer classes, we do have a mandatory freshman level computer class that is a half of a credit. We also are able to offer computer-based classes in some other departments, and you can see on the screen that they range everywhere from music and technology to web design to the business information programming through the Beaver County Career and Technology Center. We do have about 1 or 2 study halls per period. Some of those are academic support periods for our IEP students. We feel the extra support is positive for them and allows their case manager to do appropriate progress monitoring. We currently do not have any study halls scheduled in the cafeteria or in the LGI room. They are in a regular classroom setting that allows a more conducive environment for students to focus on their academics. Here is just an outline of our credit implementation. You can see the class of 2015-16, this year's graduating class, and then the incoming freshmen would be expected to have the proposed 25 credits. Thank you. I'll turn the program back over to Mr. King.
Thank you, Ms. Supsik. The next group to present are the academic behavior coaches, which were added to our schools this year, which are Ms. Kim Rappa, Mr. John Bullish, Ms. Brady Skonechky, and Mr. Dale Steigerwald. They're going to talk about their daily duties and some of the things they do every day.
Good evening, Dr. D'Imperio and esteemed members of the board. On behalf of the coaches this evening, we would like to sincerely thank you for inviting us here to share with you the exciting things that are happening in our buildings. We've had the opportunity over the last month to collaborate and reflect upon the mission of our duties as outlined in our job description. The success of our new positions have been supported by our fellow teachers, parents, and administrators. Please direct your attention to the front as we share with you our daily responsibilities. As found as a definition in the Cambridge Dictionary, the definition of a coach is someone whose job is to teach people to improve at a sport, a skill, or school subject. As you can see in the board in front of you, this outlines a lot of our duties. I'm not going to read each duty to you. If you'd like to just take a minute to look at some of the duties. And as we proceed, we will give you a little bit more in depth.
All right, one of our main duties is facilitating the Chapter 15, Section 504 plans. And very simply, Section 504 is a part of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that prohibits discrimination based upon disability. I'm not going to read the rest of the definition to you. Basically, what we are doing is students who have disabilities who do not qualify for IEPs or have learning disabilities, we give them special education services. We provided a certain degree of accommodations for them to level out the playing field and give them the opportunity to be successful in the classroom as equally as what their peers without disabilities would be. Some of our responsibilities concerning the 504 is, one of them is that we have to attempt to find students. We call this the child find. This is involved through the MTSS meetings, the MTSS meetings, as well as
through child study meetings, which are held monthly. We have to schedule meetings with the parents, teachers, and administrations and coordinate so that everybody can come together and discuss the child's needs. We have to write the actual plans that include the accommodations for the students, as well as distribute copies and secure signatures from teachers, administration, parents, everybody essentially who's involved in the child's life and education. We have to get signatures demonstrating that they have been informed that they have this information within reach. And one of the other things we have to do is also stay in communication with the special education department to make sure that all this information is getting to them and be able to communicate back and forth with the special ed department to make sure that all documents are where they need to be kept.
The next thing we're going to look at is a new program that was instituted this school year. It is our STAR program. It is our school-wide positive behavior intervention support. This is newly adopted this year. There's a team of members that went to the training for it. And we come together to talk about different interventions we could do with the students. We also mentor the students, coach the students. What we also do is look at the daily referrals we might get in each building. We are also responsible for positive rewards that the students earn at a given time. Every building is different. We also, with the help of our principals and us and people in the community, we secure donations and also we purchase prizes to give these rewards. I know in Highland we do it each week, and in the other buildings it's on a monthly basis. Excuse me. We also have a monthly grade level reward that the grade level teams come up with, and we post it on a board, and at the end of every month, if they have so many positive days, they can earn that reward. The next thing we're also going to look at is the child study team at the elementary level. At this point, we review the teacher referrals. The teachers fill out electronically or by paper referrals for the academic and the behavioral needs of each student. The principal and the coaches review these. The coaches schedule meetings with the parents, teachers, our building school psychologist, and also if we need any special regular education teachers. We have a whole team there that sits and we come up with interventions for the students at this time. And I also meet with the principal, they meet with the principal to discuss any data that we might need, and also any other students that we feel fit need to be brought up at this time. We also are responsible for organizing it by putting the schedule together and leading the meetings.
At the junior high, we have the Student Assistance Program called STEP. We have a leader. That leader and the team makes up of 20 people in the school. 20 teachers, counselors, principals, all get together, discuss referrals, make referrals, and talk about the children. Who needs help? What's stopping them from getting an education? What's hindering their education? Whether it be something at home, something at school, a bully, we take it seriously. And in taking it seriously, we make plans. We call home, talk to the parents, have them tested, have them looked at, what are the problems, what needs to be solved, and then a person is appointed to talk to that student, someone that student is comfortable with. And that student can talk to that teacher or counselor whenever they want. We also act as a liaison. The liaison would be between the building staff and the administration. By building staff, I mean not only the teachers, but also the cafeteria workers, the custodians, anybody in the school, any adult in the school. They can talk to us, we can talk to them. We look at these kids. We try to figure out what's going to be best for them. We get together. I bring the information maybe to the principal. The principal and I sit down and discuss. What can we do with this child? How can we improve this child? Do we punish this child? Do we lead him? What do we do? What is the problem? How do we fix it?
one of our other duties that we have is crisis prevention and intervention. We have excellent teachers in our school. We have identified populations of students who may have some particular challenges to overcome. Some of these students may be receiving emotional support, autistic support, and sometimes these students can head into a position of distress and eventually arrive in a position of crisis. So a lot of times our job will involve being called in to provide extra support to the teachers in their classroom to help de-escalate a student. Sometimes as much as just changing the person in front of the student can help to de-escalate them. Sometimes we have to work a little bit harder. So also sometimes when students are headed toward or in a crisis scenario, they start to become dangerous to themselves and to their peers. Part of our job sometimes involves creating a safe environment where they're not harming themselves or they are not harming other students who may be in their classroom. Sometimes we have to go as far as either separating the student from the classroom. Other times we have to separate the others, remove all of the other students from the classroom to avoid them possibly getting hurt. During this time when they're in crisis, we usually have to keep ourselves in a close proximity of them. Sometimes this involves as much as getting kicked or hit. And our whole goal is to make sure that the child is kept safe, that other children are kept safe, and often results in us having to refer them out to crisis services to be evaluated to get further help for the student if they need it as a result of heading into a crisis state.
The next slide talks about a multi-tiered system of support. In our job description and in our duties, we collaborate with the building principals, special education coordinators, school psychologists, classroom teachers that facilitate the AIMS-Web benchmark data meetings. The teachers do give AIMS-Web benchmarking 3 times a year. It's done in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring. Provide classroom teachers with input regarding effective academic strategies for individual students, and implement small group instruction and interventions for those students. This is built into our elementary schedules on a daily basis, and we have a given time every day for the students to meet for their MTSS groups. And it kind of piggybacks what Mr. Cook said with the junior high with MTSS as well.
The next slide here deals with observation. One of the most important things that we do is we observe. You're never going to understand a child unless you observe them in different areas, whether it be in the classroom or in the hallway, in the gym, in the cafeteria, eating. You observe and you watch how this child acts or all the children act. You keep a mental log of it. Then when you sit down and when you talk about it, you talk to the teacher, you talk to the administrator, you understand the child a little bit better. You know the behavior of the child, whether it be a good behavior, whether it be someone that is afraid of others, whether it is someone that is just a meek and shy individual that maybe doesn't have friends. You observe them. That way you know what to do. You know what kind of plan to put in place. You talk to the teachers, they do their own observations in the classroom, and you put together a plan to help that child.
Another one of our duties is mentoring at-risk students on a daily basis. This might mean meeting with the students, meeting with the parents, mental health referrals, discussing their academics, their grades, how are they doing, and any behavioral referrals. We meet with students daily to help them organize, get themselves together, whether it's organizing their desk, organizing their cubbies, and organizing their homework. Also, we meet with students to help them to learn good coping skills, how to interact with others, how to interact with their teachers as well, and also dealing with difficult situations, trying to help them out if there is an issue at home or in the classroom, on the playground, any transitional time, which would be lunch or specials. And we also hope that by doing this, that this will help them to improve their confidence. We also like to facilitate meetings with the students to help improve peer relationships. If there's a problem with a group of students, pulling them together and say, you know, let's just talk this out, let's lay it all on the table, and how can we improve our relationships between each other? Are we going to be friends, or should we be acquaintances? We need to be friendly to one another.
He promised he'd be the clicker. This next slide is a part of our job that I feel, and I know my peers share the same. It's a fun part of our job, where we are able to be involved in the daily academic interventions and instruction with small groups and individual students in order to meet the needs of all learners. We promote proper attitudes in the classroom for academic success and building academic and social confidence in the classroom setting. Traditionally in a classroom as a teacher, and I certainly have been there 30 years, you have that classroom and you've got those 25 or so students. But what's nice in this position is we get to talk to all of the students and reach out to any student that we come in contact with. So that's a nice part of the job.
Another part of our job involves consultation with parents and students. Doing this, we are providing services for parents, for at-risk students working on organization, making good choices, and learning good coping skills. We work with students with academic and non-academic roadblocks that are preventing them from receiving the optimal education. These, you know, and with children, these can be many things, even down to not having the right kind of shoes. So all kinds of outside roadblocks that are not necessarily academic. Sometimes just talking to a kid, we can get to the meat of it and figure out why they're having these struggles that are not necessarily blocking them academically or something social that's blocking them from academics. We provide supports for parents to offer school-based support such as positive steps, home-based support, therapy, other mental health related services, referral to Beaver County Crisis Intervention Services, and do what we can to best meet the needs of the students.
The next duty on our daily agenda is managing and administering student discipline. This is where we work with the classroom teachers, we work with the principal, the school-wide behavioral team, and outside resources such as Positive Steps and our prevention network to facilitate behavioral evaluations at the building level. We assist with the principal in the day-to-day investigation and evaluation of the discipline referrals and try to get to pretty much like the meat and potatoes of what is going on. And we also support the faculty and staff in providing site-based discipline actions. For example, timeout, counseling, maybe talking to them and then trying to de-escalate them to the point where they can maybe go speak to Positive Steps if they are in that program. Also just maybe pulling them out to give them time to maybe get some work done, cool down, and then be able to take them back to class. Also assist the principal with bullying issues and bus infractions and making the phone calls to the proper resources for that.
At the junior high, you all know that junior high students are a little more involved, possibly. You know, they're feeling a lot more than the younger kids. A lot of visibility is important in the hallways, in the classrooms, in the cafeteria, anywhere you can be visible. They see someone that is in charge. They know someone's in charge. That helps to keep the order. You keep in charge, things are still going to happen. When things happen, as you can see from this list, you got to make the phone calls. Some of those phone calls are applauding the parents. The kid is doing very good in school. Very nice child. Sometimes it's a bad phone call. Anywhere from bus infractions, bullying. We have an after-school detention in our school at the junior high, 2 days a week. Have to organize it. You have to get the people in there to do the job. People that want to do the job. People that want to help the student as well as keep the order. We have in-school suspension. Again, teachers need to be involved, teachers need to be scheduled, organization. We have referrals. I get referrals all the time from the teachers. We use the new Tyler system and the referrals come through constantly all day. Sometimes good referrals. Sometimes referrals just letting me know what's going on in the classroom. Other times referrals where something needs to be done. Hallway structure, behavior, being visible, all of these things go into play. I also have a database that I built myself to make it easier to see what comes from Tyler and put it all together for each student. That way we have easy access to one student or all students on that database. And in the end, there's still duties that we may run into that need to be done. If the principal is not there, if the principal is there, these things still need to be taken care of. Things need to be handled. And not always, but sometimes you go the extra mile. You may make a schedule. You may put something together to help out the situation.
I apologize to the board members sitting over behind my back. I don't know which way to turn here. But once again, we would like to thank the board and Dr. DePiero for implementing this program. These things all help to increase the academic success of our students. A coach will impact more young people in a year than the average person does in a lifetime. Thank you.
The next presentation is by our elementary STEAM teachers. Actually, the program has been featured in the newspaper 3 times now, once again this week. Miss Caitlin Conroy and Mrs. Nicole Derrick are going to present, and I believe you're doing a demonstration also of the stuff you do.
I am Caitlin Conroy, and I am one of the STEAM teachers. I teach at Economy and State Street Elementary. And this is my colleague, Nicole Derrick, and she teaches at Highland and State Street as well. And we are super excited to tell you about some of the things that we have been doing in our STEAM lab. So we have some themes that go throughout our curriculum. And the first one we're going to talk about is the engineering and design process. We started our school year off with the first 9 weeks having an emphasis on engineering and design. And through the engineering design process, we walk the kids through the process, which is ask, imagine, plan, create, and improve. And we try to come up with projects that were going to be cross-curricular and tie in as many academic subjects as possible. So we looked at what the kids were learning in reading and math, science, and social studies and tried to pull them into a cross-curricular project. We also have a heavy emphasis on what we call the 4 C's of 21st century learning, which are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. Additionally, we promote a growth mindset, which is instilling in the children that they can always get better, that they can improve. And we also have a focus on habits of mind. I believe there's 17 of them. And some of them would be like controlling impulsivity, patience, perseverance, skills, like that. So some of our projects, in kindergarten, we had nursery rhyme challenges. The kindergartners were learning about nursery rhymes in the reading curriculum. And they had an egg drop challenge. They had to make an egg protector for Humpty Dumpty, and we dropped him from a high location. And we had a pretty high success rate with that, and they had a lot of fun. We also did Hey Diddle Diddle, and they had to use, make a catapult to get a cow over the moon. And they also made fiddles, which is that picture up there. They are holding one of their materials, one of their fiddles they made with recyclable materials that our parents send in. The first graders were reading 3 Little Pigs variations. So we had them build houses out of drinking straws, craft sticks, and bricks, Legos. And we also did a reader's theater with the Three Little Pigs, and they acted it out with a puppet show. Second graders were learning about pets. So we had them each design their own pet rock, and they had to make a pet rock playground. So they had to come up with a jungle gym that was structurally sound enough to hold their pet rock. We also had them do slides and seesaws, swing sets, things like that. The third graders worked on Rube Goldberg machines. Rube Goldberg is a kinetic artist, so he makes art that moves. And we pulled in concepts like cause and effect from our reading curriculum, and they had to come up with chain reactions, and we had them incorporate simple machines into their machines. And fourth graders did a Hot Wheels speedometry unit, and they learned about kinetic and potential energy. The fifth graders were talking about Native American cultures in their social studies curriculum, so we had them construct models of Native American dwellings. And the sixth graders were reading about natural disasters in their reading curriculum. So they had to construct a skyscraper out of spaghetti and marshmallows and test it, and do some research on what would make a structurally sound building that would withstand an earthquake. They had a budget, and it was pretty rigorous for them. We have some videos up on our district YouTube channel that you can go and see some of those projects. Another theme that we've been focusing on is computational thinking, which is the type of thinking that computer programmers need to use to design and create programs to interact with computers and robots. So this is also known as coding. It's like a nickname for computer programming. So we started this coding off with offline lessons to get the kids in the mindset of computer programmers before we really introduced them to the technology piece. We also had all the students participate in the hour of code, some different coding activities with them. And finally, we have some other applications that we use for teaching coding. We use an app called Codable on the iPads, which are kindergartners, first grade and second grade students. Scratch Junior we've used with our second graders. And third grade and up have been using a program on our laptops called Scratch, which is free through MIT. And this is block coding, so they don't have to actually type in the computer, like the programming language into the computer. They drag and drop and snap blocks together, and it gets them thinking like a computer programmer without them having to learn the language. This will transition them into learning things like Python or JavaScript later. Oops. I'm going the wrong way. So our second graders in this middle picture, they did projects. They were learning about planets in their reading curriculum in science. So they had to research a planet and create a program with that. Fourth and fifth graders have been doing a lot of math projects. So my fifth graders were having to reteach a math concept like multiplied fractions in Scratch. The fourth graders did a really cute project that they're finishing up on multiplication stories to help them memorize their facts. And Nicole is going to talk to you about some of her robotics.
So everything we do in the STEAM lab is fun with a purpose. The first thing that we have, Caitlin is actually going to demonstrate for you. They're B-bots. So they're cute, they're adorable, but what's their purpose? Their purpose is to teach young kids how to think in a computational manner, how to think in a step-by-step manner. So she is pressing the arrows on the top, and it will get from point A to point B if the kids plan appropriately. And you can see from the picture on the slide, that first picture up there shows a hive. So we had this was a kindergarten project. We had the kindergartners create a hive. We talked about pollination. And they had to get from the hive to the flower and then back again. And so this ties into the kindergarten curriculum. It's also a lot of fun. So they're learning while they're having fun. The middle picture where you can see the road it was called Me on the Map. So that's a first grade project. The first graders created a map. They had fun creating buildings that would be in a town, and then they had to create the program for the B-Bot to get from one building to the other. We're also planning on doing B-Bots with second grade in a rainforest. So we're trying to use our technology that we have throughout the grade levels and be wise about our planning. The bottom one that you see is called a Lego We Do, and Caitlin also has that to demonstrate for you. So when she was talking about coding and programming, I had a lot of kids who I taught Scratch to in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade said, what are we going to do with this? Well, now comes the point where after they learn, they get to do something with it. They are going to program the Lego We Do, and Caitlin has him programmed to move for you.
So this one has a motion sensor, so when we have him programmed, so when he sees this little plant, he'll stop. So Mr. Glass, would you guys so kind as to hit that green area for me?
And so you can see all the times in engineering as well. They don't come already made. The kids have this kit, and they have to follow step by step how to build it, and then they program it as well. These are some more videos that we have on our YouTube channel, as well as some additional pictures. Did I get that? Oh, no. Okay, oh, sorry. So electronics is our next slide. If you look on the left, that is called Little Bits. So we have Little Bits kids that we started in 3rd grade. We're now pushing them up to 4th and 5th grade, and we're teaching the kids electronics through those. Little Bits are just pieces snapped together with magnets, and it teaches the kids about circuitry and about electronics. It teaches them about the flow of electricity, but also how they themselves can control it in different ways. Very fun, very step-by-step, lots of listening and following directions, which we teachers love to teach that because it's so necessary. In addition to that, if you see the little girl on the right-hand side, she's playing with a squishy circuit. And all it is Play-Doh, a battery pack, and some alligator clips, I think. Just sticks, Play-Doh is conductive, so it teaches the kids about open circuits and closed circuits, but in a fun way. The one on the left is a Makey-Makey. Makey-Makey's claim to fame is as long as you have alligator clips, you can create anything if you connect to the internet. So Caitlin has actually programmed the Makey-Makey. She's connected it to gummy bears, and she has turned the gummy bears into a keyboard. So Makey means you're making a keyboard out of anything. Bananas, water, gummy bears. And she contacted the 4th grade music teacher at State Street. He gave her Hot Cross Buns, which is in the 4th grade recorder curriculum. And so the kids are going to play Hot Cross Buns using gummy bears, and she can do that. And once again, we would use those Makey-Makeys in 5th and 6th grade as well with a different project, but we're going to use them again. We're very grateful for the support of the Amherst School District for purchasing a variety of these materials, but we've also gone out on our own and secured some wonderful grants. So we're just going to talk about the grants that we were awarded.
So the first grant that I wrote was from the BCET grant, and it was a mini grant for $500. And I was able to purchase Power Up 3.0. So with our 3rd graders, they are going to be reading about the Wright brothers and flight. So we're going to do a unit on flight, and the Power Up 3.0 is actually a propeller and motor that attaches to a paper airplane, and it will connect through Bluetooth to an iPad app, and the kids will actually be able to control and fly their paper airplane with their iPad. And then I also wrote an SACP grant. Our 3rd graders are also going to be reading about renewable energy at the end of the school year. So we are going to have them do wind power and solar power cars, and we were able to get wind and solar power kits.
And then I was awarded 2 grants. The first one is on the left. It was for a steam walk that we held at Highland. This was actually just a couple weeks ago. This was February 22nd. We had about 9 challenge stations. We invited the parents. We had really good attendance. A lot of families attended. Every family completed the challenge stations, and after they did that, we awarded them with door prizes and cookies, and it was great fun. If you look at the picture of the little boy on the left, he's playing with what are called Puzzlets. Puzzlets are an award-winning tech ed program. They're actually created by a Pittsburgh-based company. But it's interactive gaming, so it just connects to an iPad via Bluetooth, and the kids control whatever's on the screen through these little puzzle pieces. And once again, it's just promoting that computational thinking. They love it. It's a lot of fun, but we're making them think in a step-by-step process. With all the materials that you're seeing, all the grants that Caitlin and I have written, we've done so collaboratively with the express purpose of sharing those materials between the elementary schools. So, like, I'm not hoarding my stuff at Highland. I'll pass it on to her. We'll use it at State Street, pass it on to the economy students. So we really feel like when we write a grant, it's benefiting the whole school district. The last grant is the one on the right. It's for bottle rockets, and this is going to be used for the 6th grade students. It was in the amount of $560, and it was awarded to us. And you can see it's to, water, force, altitude. They'll be able to explore that type of stuff, but in a really fun and interactive way. I just wanted to personally add that I think STEAM is phenomenal. I think it's really putting 21st century skills into the hands of our students. And I feel like our first year of STEAM has been a wonderful success, but I also know this success doesn't happen in a vacuum. So we'd like to thank our principals. I think you guys have been phenomenal at supporting us and encouraging us, our administration and our school board as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends our presentation. Does anybody have any questions for me or the administration at this time on anything you've seen? Sure.
How many hours a week do the students get in STEAM? Okay. And everybody gets it? Very good, thank you.
Yes.
All the skills you showed us, are these connected with potential skill sets once they leave school? For example, what do some of the ones you two have been showing the kids how to do, what can they take that to do besides, it can be a programmer, I suppose. What else?
Yeah, that would actually lead into your middle school TSA program and also your middle school or your high school TSA program. It's basically the beginning of your technology applications or STEAM or STEM program in the high school. So this is actually the beginning. You start in kindergarten, and then when you get into the high school, you get into materials fabrication, TSA 1 and 2, honors technology, and your different engineering programs. So this would be like your pre-engineering.
Have any of these programs been set up in consultation with businesses in the area? They would say, I need somebody that can do A, B, and C?
I know in the high school that they participate in the Energy and Manufacturing Committee, and basically right now it's more of the fracking industry and those type of jobs because they're importing all the workers from Texas. So yes, they are. Anybody else?
Hi,
Sure.
a couple more. First, I want to say thank you. The presentations were excellent. You all did a really good, informative job. I know the board has been asking for the information for a while, so thank you very much for doing that. One of my questions actually is for Ms. Subsick. You had talked about the potential for offering increased AP classes. Some of them being in welding. Do we have certified staff to do that?
Well, the AP class wouldn't be in welding. The AP class would actually be either physics C or mechanics.
Okay.
And yes, we do have certified staff in that area. The welding program at the Career and Technology Center is being eliminated. And we do have the materials and the staff certified to be able to teach some of those introductory welding courses.
And then you said also the AP psychology, sociology. Would someone have to be certified in order to add that into our curriculum?
Yes, and currently those are the only things that are keeping us from making it official. We just need to arrange and schedule the training. We actually do have staff that is willing to go go and get the additional training on their own.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes.
I appreciate all the presentations. It's the first time I've actually seen a cohesive plan from elementary school through high school. Let me just try to summarize my understanding, because this is probably not the forum to get into very detailed aspects of what offerings are at what school and why, but let me see if I understand it at least generally. The initiatives at the elementary school really are becoming focused on STEM. You can talk about STEAM, but in reality it's
It's STEM.
all right? And that program is both being received well at the student level as well at the community level.
Yes.
That's why you're getting the press that you're seeing the participation by the number of students, etc. And it's the first year for that program. In conjunction with that, at the suggestion of the superintendent, the board approved a group of academic coaches, which in your presentation, which was quite extensive, and let me paraphrase, those coaches are really acting as a bridge between the principal, a guidance counselor, a tutor, and a disciplinarian. In theory, I mean, based on all the pages that were presented, you're acting as a bridge for potential matters that get out of control before they get out of control in the simplest way and form. So you're addressing the periphery of our student population, not the primary core of our student population. However, the answer to that is, if you deal with the exceptions, then those in the core have a better atmosphere upon which to learn and to work. I'm all for that. So I take that support mechanism, which starts at the elementary school and now goes through the other buildings, and we put into it the excitement for STEAM. And we walk into the junior high school, and the curriculum based on the handbook stops. There is no STEAM. There's a single course of 8 weeks for technology. And the plan that's been put forth is an interventionalist plan, which means something happened between students performing really well at the elementary school. And by the way, by changes in personnel, you can see that the reason elementary schools perform better isn't because the students change. It's because the teachers and the administration apply themselves differently. That's been proven. Changes to Highland didn't happen because all of a sudden 5 classes of grades went out of Highland and 5 different classes came in. So clearly, teacher involvement and administrative oversight has significant impacts to education. And then we get into the junior high, and the plan for next year is an interventionalist plan. Intervention 1, intervention 2, or enhancement. Basically what you're saying is, you need a lot of help, you need help, or we're going to ignore you because we're too busy with the interventions. And what you're saying is there's 2 periods, up to 86 minutes, which is 2 of 7 periods offered. And there is no transition from the STEAM curriculum and the excitement in the elementary school into a continued STEAM curriculum through the junior high.
I can answer that. It would go to a 45-day unified arts period.
Yes.
But also it's going to be an elective that they can take. So they would have a TSA elective, and then they would go a TSA in one of the periods. In your elective period, we would add like an elective that they could take.
Okay, so it's not in this, because I only see one, technology education in 8th grade for 9 weeks. That's the only applicable STEM program I see, and that's why people like the science teachers and things bridge into STEM. Basically, they're taking science curriculum, right?
Yes.
They're bridging it into STEM. Because there is no fulfillment of STEM in our junior high curriculum. It's based on this course study.
Yeah, well, once that would get approved, that 8-period, that's basically an 8-period ABC schedule. Once that course or that schedule would get approved, then that elective would come into play. And that course selection book would change. That's correct, right, Mr. Cook?
Then have it all year long as an elective.
Yeah, it would be a full elective, full year.
So I have some concern, not that I don't believe that an intervention in screening philosophy is necessary at the junior high, as stated by Mr. Cook, because of the current status of test scores. But that doesn't mean that you could stop the advancement of your curriculum through junior high because you have issues. And those issues tend to be, again, with the periphery, right? And I'm not using that as a condemnation of either side of that scale of education, those that exceed far beyond expectation and those that can't meet expectation, right? And the 80% in the middle is referred to as mainstream. So I do have some questions on core curriculum as it relates to the continuation of STEAM, because when you get to high school, the board consideration for the high school, and by the way, I give you great credit for trying to raise credits from 22.5 to 25, though I will be honest with you, I would throw away the senior project as one credit as a gimme. It is tough for me then to say, if we are a STEM-oriented school district, that we're only going to require a half credit of computer and a half credit of technology in 4 years of high school. And the only way to address that, therefore, is to make those each at least a single credit, which means your bogey is now 26. And I think the answer is going to come back, and this is not going to be a popular comment, and I understand it. If indeed we say we want to go to 26 educational credits for graduation, and we say that the academic coaches are of value within the educational system, and then we go and look at the teacher ratio to students, knowing that the teacher ratio to students has declined, which means there are more teachers per average student than there was 3 or 4 years ago when Bain Academy was closed. And now that it's open, we pretty much have the same number of teachers, but less students. The natural end to that discussion is one that is going to be very difficult for us to all discuss. How do you create more educational time for students and carry the STEM curriculum through on a continuum if at some point you have to decide what is more important to their education, the student to teacher ratio, right, smaller classrooms, or oversight individuals such as academic coaches, right? Is the contribution to the whole better than the contribution to the few? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what everybody in the school district wants are better outcomes. And ideally, the best way to get better outcomes, in most situations, is to add teachers. I think everybody would agree with that. Then you modify your curriculum to match what your needs are. I don't know financially that answer is palatable. So at some point, the school district is going to have to begin to balance what the needs are of the curriculum to the ratio of teachers to students. And by the way, I'm all for academic coaches. I think test scores will prove that out, because if you're addressing the periphery, the nature of that is test scores will go up, right? Basic philosophy. If you're dealing with the problems at either end of the spectrum, test scores are going to go up. But I have some, and obviously, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm the financial guy in life, right? I have difficulties in trying to bridge what I want from academic outcomes to what is reasonable with financial expectations.
I'd like to speak your point on the junior high schedule. So I want to emphasize that we are not by any means, we want to address all students and all learners. And the program of intervention, the tier 3 students, the students that need the highest level of intervention, you're correct, they are a smaller group. And we want to address them in that group. We are not putting aside or ignoring any students at that level. It actually helps us increase our ability to get that curriculum, that STEM curriculum, to our students. If you notice in the course of studies under electives, you referenced the 8th grade rotation. And under electives, we do have a TSA class that, if we are unable to enact this schedule, we will have a TSA elective added to that year-long course.
To the elective side.
to the elective side that students can take, which will then bridge from the elementary school, which I'm extremely excited to see and hear about the great things they're doing there. But that will bridge that curriculum to the students that at the junior high level.
And then an 8th grade elective.
As an 8th grade elective, correct. But we do, by no means do we plan or intend on ignoring any students. We want to address our students at their need level, and that's the whole purpose of the intervention-based schedule.
In junior high and senior high school, what's the student-teacher ratio?
When I did my Title I comparative, what's that?
Not together. What's junior high and senior high?
I think they're both about 12 to 1 or 14 to 1. Like when we do our Title I comparability report, we have to report those numbers to the feds. But you also, when they ask for that, they ask for the nurses, they ask for the principals. That you have to put everything in there. Any tenured or professional employee.
Well, if you took those out, what is the true ratio?
I would think it would be more like 16 or 17 to 1. But your numbers are also, they get skewed by, like, let's say you have AP Calculus BC, that's college calc 2. You know, that's a nested class, it's a double period. You actually would have like 5 kids in the class or 4 kids. There's, you know, with your high level AP like physics 3 or your physics or mechanical physics, that would be a small class too. Where your general English class or just honors English class would have 25.
So basically your ratio of teachers to students declines as you get into more specialized classes?
Yes.
Right, so from elementary school through junior high and into high school,
Absolutely.
the lowest ratio being high school because you have more specialized classes and may have
Absolutely.
8 children where your kindergarten class may have 22 children.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Mr. King, again, thank you very much for the presentations. One of the things I would like to see at the end of the year is for each of these different areas, for example, the academic coaches did a great job of explaining their role to us. I'd like to see a strategy and plan and also some quantitative information as far as the number of students that have been impacted and the results that we're seeing from that. I think that would be really helpful for us. And then next year, of course, this being the first year with the STEAM program in the elementary schools, the same thing. How can we quantify that based upon the dollars spent? So I think from a strategy standpoint, that's where we need to go with all of these programs to the next level so that we can make decisions that economically benefit our students. We all know we're in a competitive situation now, actually, in an educational environment. And it's no surprise that 87% of newly created jobs from 2010 on involve technology.
Yeah, no problem. What I could do is basically we would quantify it by your test results. For this year, you would have to take your third Ames Web benchmark, but you don't get your true reading like what I report to the federal government until all your test scores come out in September.
Right.
You know, that we have to do our performance objectives and our performance objective results.
If I could just make one final comment, thank you, Mr. King. To all of those, and it's been said, who presented this evening, we do want to thank you. I think I speak for the board when I say how impressed we are with what you had to say. And I think what comes through loud and clear is that you have a passion for what you do and you really want to see children grow and learn more. Part of the presentation, or part of our objective in making this presentation, was to learn not only from the board, but from the public as well, some of the direction that you would like to see us go in. And some of the things that we took as notes this evening is one, to take a look at the curriculum in the sciences and in the STEAM programs. We go from elementary into the junior high school to the senior high school. The comment from a person in the public that I think was so helpful is, yes, as we develop these programs, we have to be sure that we include the thinking of industry and what their needs are. And finally, and I think this suggestion came out in an earlier board meeting, within the confines of the school day, we've been looking at ways to find more instructional time, particularly at the junior high school. So we have learned from you as well this evening, and we'll be incorporating those ideas into our programs. So thank you very much, and thank the board. That was kind of a lengthy presentation, but I think it was time well spent.
You said you wanted a long one.
What's that?
You said you wanted a long one.
That's right, Barry. Thank you very much.
All right, again, thank you, everybody. It was well worth our time. I'd like to continue with this meeting this evening, and the next section will be public comment regarding the agenda items only. The meet and discuss meetings are open to the public. At this time, anyone from the audience may come forward to comment or ask questions on agenda items only. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once during this half-hour period. There will be no discussion during this time. Any board member or administrator desiring to address questions or concerns may do so at the conclusion of the committee reports.
My name is Mike Colinoli. I reside in the Ambridge School District for about 24 years. Dr. Perio, school board members, I'm here to try to figure out where we're at with the JROTC program. The talk has been that it could go away this year. We've heard everybody talk about passion. Okay, there's a lot of passion with this program. The kids are taught different things. They're taught leadership, and also someone also mentioned about a focus on their career. Okay, now we're adding classes to focus on certain students' careers. Now we're wanting to take one away, that there's some students that are focused on a career. Okay, and if obviously it's a career that's going to help us. Okay, it's the military. It's the past 16 years, this program has gone well. Okay, in the last 6 years, I think the cadets were given approximately $2 million in scholarships. Okay, from organizations, the veterans, the Disabled Veterans Administration, the Vietnam veterans, and the Marine Corps League. I guess the stumbling stones here is the numbers are down. We understand that. But since the tuition rates for the RIC students was raised, okay, other districts says that's it. We're not paying that high. So we're suggesting that possibility, if we could lower the tuition rate back down to where it was. Let's get the other districts, because you don't understand. Other districts are coming here. They're coming to our school. They're not coming to Hopewell. They're not coming to Beaver. They're coming to Ambridge School District. So anything that happens with the JROTC, it's always the Ambridge area junior ROTC. Okay? When we go to Veterans Day parades, we go to Memorial Day parades, everybody stands up and they clap, and they stay clapping. I don't know if anybody's ever been to a parade that the ROTC has been in. Okay, I've had the pleasure of going away with them to camps and stuff like that.
Mr. Poliani, to be respectful, I just want you to finish up, but you have about 30 seconds. Please.
Okay, I think we got ourselves to get backs against the wall. So number one, we got to get Master Sergeant Short's contract renewed, and according to the MOA, we have to get a second instructor hired for that position. Okay, we can't let this program go away. Seriously, you want to talk about passion? Look at it. We're here. Thank you.
And let me just make a brief comment. The district is committed to the program, committed to making a recommendation to the board. I have Mr. King, Ms. Zubzik, Mr. Booher, myself. We're working on the renewal. As you state, there are requirements that the district is a must meet and must comply with, and that's what we're working with at the present time. So we're with you.
Do you think that'll be done by the end of April?
Well, that's our goal.
I thank you.
Thank you. You need the name?
Yes.
Sarah, could you give me?
Could you spell your last name for the record, please?
Yes, it's Polonoli.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address any issue?
evening. Randy Janicki, Baden. I reside in Baden. And I'm here in regards to the academic and behavior coach position that the board implemented this year. This newly created position has certainly been helpful in helping our kids strive to be the best they can be. Ms. Rappa, I have a 5th grader at State Street. Ms. Rappa not only works with the children in small groups, one-on-one, and help with academics to aid them in areas that they may have a weakness. The new STAR program is an asset to our discipline policy that is adopted by our district. Research shows that if there is a good program, academics will follow suit. Our children are very excited about doing something right, getting caught, following the rules. It sets the tone for all children to shine. They look forward to putting their red tickets in the box in the office for a chance to win great monthly prizes. My wife and I frequent State Street on a regular basis and can feel what a difference this program has made. The team of teachers, Mr. McKelvey and Ms. Rappa, have done a great job at getting this program in place for our children. Several years ago, I learned that the elementary guidance program was removed from our buildings. It was disheartening to know that our children would no longer have these services. You and I both know that there is not a need or crisis daily. However, the reality is that some children need that extra caring individual to boost their spirits and help them get through the day. When I learned of this new position, I could not help equate it to the lost positions and was excited to know that an extra person would be there to help. It is my observation that Mr. McKelvey and Ms. Rappa share the same values and have the same expectations for our children. I have personally known Ms. Rappa for many years and feel she is a perfect fit for this position. She dedicates a lot of time, effort, and passion to her position. Children need a safe place to go to talk and share feelings. Children need to know that they have someone to trust, and I know for a fact that my son knows he can trust Ms. Rappa and Mr. McKelvey.
Mr. Janicki?
Yes.
You have about 30 seconds,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
My son was considering quitting the band. When I notified the school of this, Ms. Rappa asked if I could give her and Mr. McKelvey a chance to change his mind. Ms. Rappa talked to my son. When he got home from school, the smile on his face was priceless. He was so happy and said that he would stay in band. He told me that Ms. Rappa had told him how much she enjoyed hearing him play Jingle Bells and what an asset to the band he was. Sometimes a kind word means the world to a child and improves their whole self-esteem. This is a typical example where sometimes the principal may be busy disciplining or in a classroom with the teacher. I want to personally thank you for putting this position in place, even in its early stages. I personally see where it is beneficial to the principal, staff, and our children as well. I hope that the STAR program is in the school for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the board secretary.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Good evening, board members. My name is Debbie O'Connor, and I live in Dayton. I'm writing this letter to tell you how grateful I am for the academic behavior coach program at State Street. And I have to tell you a little bit about myself so you understand how very important this program is to me. Excuse me. 6 years ago, I took in a 4-year-old little boy. His parents couldn't take care of him. He had no food, no water, no gas, no electric, and no food. So to keep him out of the system, I took him in. And you would think that a little boy, 4 years old, would have no idea what's going on in the world around him as long as he had food and toys. It's wrong. His heart and his head were just full of issues. He's a smart, talented little boy with a heart of gold.
and his heart was broken and his soul was lost. In kindergarten, he would interrupt his class. Oh my gosh. He would talk out of turn. He had no patience. He had every check mark and every slash he could get for not working quietly and not using his time wisely. He had anger issues, and when he would see kids that were with their parents, especially at Christmas and Thanksgiving, it was horrible. His anxiety, his anger would go through the roof because he did not have his parents with him. In first grade, I took him to counseling. After a year, he was still angry and disruptive. His school grades were average, but again, the slashes for his behavior. He wouldn't work quiet, he didn't want to do homework, he didn't want to stay in school. We tried doctor after doctor, counselor after counselor. Our time was truly consumed with counseling. He would come to me crying and telling me that he doesn't want to be like this, but he doesn't know how to stop it. I was heartbroken, and I was also in my rope. I didn't know what else to do. His grades dropped, and he had trouble at school. His behavior was bad. His relationships with other children were bad. He would lose control, and the kids would see this, and then nobody would want to play with him, and that only added to his trouble. There's nothing so sad as to see a child who knows he needs help, and he just couldn't seem to find it. Every night it was a struggle to do homework. He cried, he screamed, he hated school, he hated homework, he hated his life, he hated everything. I couldn't read his writing. I would make him write his words over again so that he could put his letters on the line, and he would just cry and scream and stomp off upstairs. I took him to intervention to make sure that he wouldn't even go and try to hurt himself. A few days before Christmas, his mother, who had been absent for 6 years, wrote a letter and said that she was finally doing well and that she would like to see him. So I thought he finally had something to be happy about. 6 days later, his father died. You can imagine the hurt and the anger and the rage started all over again. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help him. I sat in my car and I cried for a very long time. I didn't know what to do next. And during all this time, Ms. Robert and Mr. McKelvey called me to the office. I was called to the school so often that I wanted to cry every time I saw the number come across my telephone. 3 times in 1 week I was called in because of his behavior, his temper, and his grades. His grades dropped, his temper was worse, his relationships with teachers and children, it was bad. Ms. Robert and Mr. McKelvey and I agreed to a plan to help Aiden overcome his anger by coming and talking to them. I'll never be able to tell you how much the Academic and Behavior Coach program has helped him, and it's helped me. Ms. Rappa would check on him in class and at lunchtime, and we talked on the phone. We would check to see how it was going at school, how it was going at home. She would check on him at lunchtime, and she would ask him if he needed to talk. He could come to the office. It was an open door policy. He could talk to anybody at any time.
Ms. O'Connor, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please take 30 seconds. You're breaking my heart. So finish up here.
Every child there knows that they can go and talk right now, and somebody will listen, because you can't tell our kids when their hearts are breaking that you have to wait until next week till you see your counselor, or you can't talk today because there's no time. Ms. Rappa and Mr. McKelvey are a godsend in my life. They take Aiden into their office and they help him and they talk to him and they know when he's hurting. And the academic behavior program is truly a blessing, and it has such a positive effect on the kids. My grandson's grades have gone up. Every single grade has gone up, and I can read his writing now. He never complains about homework. He completes his classwork and he looks forward to school dances now, which he would never go to before. And he even tells his kindergarten cousins that he'll help them with their homework. When he gets off the bus, as today, he said, "I had another good day, Gigi, another good day. I'm doing wonderful." And our house is finally becoming the home that it should be. And I can't thank the people involved in the academic program enough. I'm so glad you implemented this program. Please keep the program going at any cost. I can tell you firsthand how well it works. I'm very grateful to Mr. Alpine and Mr. McKelvey and all the time and hard work they put into every child who truly needs them. The coach program has positive effects for our children, and they need it on a daily basis to be happy and productive. So I thank you very much for putting the coach program in place, and you have a program that has been a true blessing in our lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking that time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lauren Tierney. I'm currently a kindergarten teacher at Highland, but I am also a resident of the Economy. My kids will be in the school in a couple years. But I just wanted, I get emotional all the time. I just wanted to say what a wonderful job these academic coaches do. I know. So Brandy has built such a positive relationship with all of the kids in my classroom, where they get so excited to go and tell her, like, Miss S, I'm on green today. Like, she just creates an environment where they're excited to make good choices, and they love going and telling her when they learn something new or they get a concept that they've been struggling with. And it has maximized my classroom instructional time. She is able to come into my classroom and de-escalate a situation so quick because she knows the kids, they know her, and we're able to move past it, move on, and get back to what we're doing in class, as opposed to spending a lot of time with that one student who's melting down or having an issue at that moment in time or throwing a tantrum. We have lots of that in kindergarten. But she is able and does such a wonderful job, and I can't imagine my day without having that coach in that building. It's just been a huge blessing, so I just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Lauren Mahoney, Economy. I am not only a teacher here in the district, but I also have a son in the 5th grade at State Street. I'm going to speak to both State Street and the junior high. Camden could not be more excited with the opportunities that the behavior and academic coach have provided for him. The rewards that they get, the one day they, because he cashed in his tickets, they got to go out and play in the snow this winter. That was a rare event for the students in this area. He's just so thrilled every month to be able to collect those tickets and have a positive reward for his behavior and for his efforts in the school, and for them to be working with him academically. At the junior high, I cannot speak enough about Mr. Goolish. There are days that I'm not sure that he even sits down. He is on the go from the time he walks in the door to the time he leaves, working with students, figuring out how to fix the problems, juggling and helping with the discipline, and in every single one of our rooms as quickly as he can be if we need them. So I have to say that the behavior and academic coaches are absolute assets in all of our buildings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ron Erickson. I wanted to echo some of the comments about the importance of the JOTC program. I have 3 kids in the district. 2 of them are in high school, both enrolled in the JROTC. And my youngest is in 6th grade right now. And I hope, he has the opportunity to join the JROTC when he's in high school. I didn't know a lot about the JROTC before my kids were enrolled in it. I've been blown away. The character, the camaraderie that these kids have with each other, the respect and discipline that they get through that, you don't find that in a lot of places. And the fact that they go out there and the community service that they do, I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to see the JROTC performing at the parades or the battlefield cross ceremonies that they do. If you haven't, I would ask you to go and take the time to do that, because you'll see firsthand what difference and what a gem that program is, and not just for the school district, but for the community in general. You have, when we talk a lot about kids leaving to go to charter schools, we have kids from other districts wanting to come here for this program. It's important, and my fear is that, I know it was said that things are being looked at and being done about it, but it seems like that there's a bit of a end date that has to be met. In non-action on it could be action. So please do what you can for that and get done what needs to be done. Thank you.
My name is Jamie Hartzell. I'm from Rochester. My son is a junior in Rochester High School. He struggled for a while, and he didn't know where to go in life. He asked me to join the JROTC program. He intentionally needed to get himself into a place where he could focus and he could learn and he can thrive. He took his ASVABs. He passed at 16 years old. He has recruiters looking at him now. He's very proud of who he has become, the strength, the courage, and everything he has to stand up to bullies in his own school, and then to come here and feel the pride of being in this school and being